It was August 30th, 2013, when 19-year-old Bryce David Laspisa disappeared without warning. His SUV was later discovered overturned near Castaic Lake in California, the rear window shattered outward, his phone, wallet, and laptop still inside. But Bryce himself was nowhere to be found. No one witnessed him walk away, and since that moment, he has never been seen again. Born on April 30, 1994, Bryce spent his early years in Illinois before moving with his parents, Karen and Michael Laspisa, to Laguna Niguel, California. An only child, he was known for his creativity, bright personality, and boundless energy. Bryce had recently started his sophomore year at Sierra College in Rockland, studying industrial and graphic design. He had good friends, a steady girlfriend named Kim Sly, and a seemingly promising future. But in the final days of August 2013, something shifted dramatically. Friends began noticing odd behavior. Bryce was drinking more than usual and misusing Vyvanse, a stimulant that can cause anxiety, sleeplessness, and erratic thoughts when taken improperly. He grew increasingly on edge, distant, and unpredictable, raising concern among the people close to him. On August 27th, Bryce told Kim he wanted to end their relationship, telling her she'd be better off without him. He also began giving away his personal items, including his Xbox and a pair of diamond earrings his mother had gifted him. His friends feared he was dealing with something serious. That night, he went to stay with his friend Sean Dixon. They talked for hours, but while Sean eventually went to bed, Bryce stayed up drinking and pacing, behaving strangely. By morning, Sean was worried enough to call Bryce's mom. When Karen spoke to her son, he insisted nothing was wrong, and she took him at his word. Later that day, Bryce left in his 2003 Toyota Highlander and started the long drive south toward his parents' home, a trip that should have taken 7 hours. Instead, it stretched into a baffling 2-day journey that no one has been able to fully explain. At 11:30 p.m. on August 28th, Bryce told his mother he was leaving college for home. By early morning, he was 350 miles south, near Buttonwillow, a small town along Interstate 5. There, he ran out of gas. A roadside assistance worker named Christian came to help and delivered 3 gallons of fuel. Bryce thanked him and seemed calm. But several hours later, he was still in the same spot. Karen, worried, called Christian again and asked him to check on Bryce. When Christian returned, Bryce was sitting motionless in his car, staring out the windshield. He had been there for nearly 9 hours. He told Christian he was fine and planned to continue home soon. When Karen spoke to him, Bryce's voice was steady. He declined her offer to find a hotel and said he'd drive home that night. At 2 a.m. on August 30th, a highway camera captured Bryce's Highlander exiting near Castaic Lake, about 90 miles north of his parents' house. It was the last confirmed sighting of him. Hours later, at 5:30 a.m., a worker discovered tire tracks leading down an embankment near the lake access road. At the bottom lay Bryce's overturned vehicle. The back window had been kicked out from the inside, and his personal items, wallet, phone, clothes, and laptop, were still in the car. There were no signs of blood, no indication of a struggle, and no Bryce. Search dogs followed his scent from the crash site to a nearby truck stop, and then to the edge of Castaic Lake's dam where the trail suddenly ended. Dive teams searched the lake. Helicopters scanned the hills. Volunteers combed the area for days. But there was nothing, no footprints, no clothing, no body. It was as if Bryce had vanished into thin air. Police examined the crash scene and determined the car had accelerated down the embankment intentionally. Yet they couldn't say why. Investigators found no signs of foul play. The working theory was that Bryce may have been suffering from emotional distress, possibly influenced by alcohol and stimulants, leading him to abandon his car in confusion. His parents refused to believe he was gone. Karen and Michael insisted Bryce was alive somewhere, possibly disoriented or suffering from memory loss. They described their last conversation, Bryce's calm, polite tone, and his reassurance that he would see them soon, as something that gave them hope. But hope began to fade as days turned into weeks. Authorities explored several theories. One suggested that Bryce may have experienced a psychotic episode brought on by exhaustion, substance use, or emotional turmoil, causing him to act irrationally and wander away. Another theory was that he had sustained a head injury in the crash, resulting in amnesia. If so, he could have walked away without realizing who he was. This idea gained traction after a few unconfirmed sightings were reported in nearby towns. Others speculated that Bryce had chosen to disappear intentionally, staging the crash to start a new life. They pointed to his odd behavior in the days prior, giving away possessions, breaking up with his girlfriend, and his cryptic messages to friends as signs of premeditation. But investigators found no evidence of planning, no withdrawals from his bank accounts, and no indication he'd prepared to leave permanently. His parents continued searching, distributing flyers, appearing on television, and working with missing persons organizations. They kept his case alive on social media, hoping someone would recognize him. Each year on the anniversary of his disappearance, they renew their plea for information.
A former Naperville man attending college in California has been missing since the end of last summer. Bryce Laspisa disappeared under bizarre circumstances last fall. To this day, it is still a mystery. Tonight, his mother is back in the Chicago area for the first time on her own. And she spoke to CBS 2's Brad Edwards in this original report.
It's a best friend reunion in Terminal 3.
I am Bryce Laspisa's mom.
Best friends and their baggage.
Some days are better than others.
Her son Bryce missing for 8 months. 15,000 now follow on Facebook.
They had airplanes, they had helicopters, they had divers.
On the upper levels.
I seem to miss Bryce more being back here.
For that, she has her best friend.
We both live with uncertainty.
A best friend with stage 4 cancer.
This is my best friend that goes to sleep every night and doesn't know where her son is.
The Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department has kept the investigation open, but there have been no major developments. No physical evidence has surfaced since that morning in 2013. Bryce's phone records and laptop showed nothing suspicious, no suicide notes, no farewell messages, no signs of criminal involvement. The strange part of Bryce's story is how calm and deliberate he seemed right up until the moment he vanished. Witnesses who interacted with him, his friends, the roadside worker, his mother all said he was polite, coherent, and not in visible distress. Yet something inside him had changed. His long pauses, his aimless driving, and his late-night reflections point to a deep internal struggle no one could see.
We still have people send in just tips as well as some photographs, but there's never been any confirmed actual sighting of Bryce. If Bryce is still alive out there, that he doesn't know who he is. I mean, because I truly don't believe that Bryce is willingly not contacting me. It's been 3 years of a nightmare.
But 3 years later,
At the time he went missing, Bryce Laspisa was 19 years old. He stood 5 feet 11 inches tall, weighed around 170 pounds, and had distinctive red-orange hair with blue-green eyes. Everything he owned, his ID, electronics, and cash, was left behind, along with a family still tormented by the silence that followed his disappearance. More than 10 years later, Bryce's case remains a haunting mystery. His parents continue to cling to the hope of learning what happened, even if the truth is painful. For them, the uncertainty is the most agonizing part, existing in a space where hope and sorrow constantly collide. Bryce's story is a stark reminder of how quickly a normal day can spiral into the unimaginable. One moment you're headed home, the next, you've vanished without explanation. And somewhere, the truth about Bryce's fate may still be waiting to be uncovered.